going on, guys? What is going on? Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 20 to 11. We're going to play some blues, guys. Today we're messing around with no reverb, just a little bit of dirt on the valve amp, and no reverb. I had to take all the reverb off because I was trying to learn some Charlie Christian. Some legend on a YouTube video was laying down some of those old swing licks, and the sound, there was no reverb to be heard, nothing to hide behind. You'll often hear me protesting that I don't use any effects, as if it's some badge of honor or something. But no, I was using reverb all the time, hiding behind it. And it's not even so much as hiding. I like the sound of reverb. It's great, man. It's nice, but I had to wind it back. I had to go back to zero. And I started playing that dry sound. I was like, this. Oh man, this is no good. Every little mistake I was making, I could hear it. And then I kept with it. I kept with it. I finally got to a point where I was starting to make it sound quite good, and I got to like this dry sound with the no reverb. It gives it something. Apart from there being no reverb, there's something different to the sound. And I think at the same time, it forces you, when you hear these little mistakes, it forces you to correct them. I think somebody told me once, and that's the way John Mayer practices, clean sound on the amp. I've got a bit of dirt in that. It's got the overdrive channel on it. I used to like to play it just on the clean channel and really crank the amp, but you've got to really crank it, and that's a big amp and it's a valve amp, like, so the volume is ridiculous. To get that break up and get that fat sound, but with just a little bit of, you can get up quite a good sound if you mess around with the dials and just overdrive channel 1. But yeah, I'm gonna play some stuff, a few wee moves I've been messing around with double stops and things like that, and a few little blues moves, trying to get different sounds, not so much with pickups and stuff, just using the fingers. Johnny Winter style playing. Johnny Winter was never really a guy that I thought was amazing, you know what I mean? Because I was a big Hendrix fan, and I'm thinking of one track in particular. Be careful how you treat a fool, or don't mistreat a fool, or something like that you call it. I used to play it in a band years ago. One of these bands that never got off the ground. We jammed a lot of times, but we never got out doing the full stuff. But I think it's a BB King song. I think BB King did it originally because he sings it at BB King. His vocals amazing on it too, and his guitar playing is off the hook. But to me, it sounded very much like Hendrix Red House, so I like dismissed it. You know what I mean? I don't know about anybody else, but I could fall into snobbish attitudes with music. Oh, this is what I like, and therefore it is the best. I don't care what anybody else says, um, which is dangerous, isn't it? It's dangerous, man. You don't want to go there. You'll get lost in there. You'll get just like falling down a well. Nobody can help you. You've got to fucking scream and cry for a while until the fire brigade comes. But yeah, then I was messing around on guitar. I had a few notes and I plucked them or struck them a certain way, and I realised, oh, that's that sound Johnny Winter was getting. So although it was, the licks were kind of like Red House, I don't think Hendrix really invented that style as such. Those were licks that a lot of blues players were playing, and not only that, Johnny Winter, he plays it his own way. I wasn't like crazy about the playing. It just seemed kind of standard stuff to me. It was great, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't really over the moon about it. But now that I realised he's got this extra tonal thing going on, it's like, oh, I was wrong. I was wrong yet again. So I had to get humble and start appreciating Johnny Winter, man, because that guy's, he's doing some special stuff. He's doing some special moves. Like, it's always the subtle things that catch you out, isn't it? But yeah, I'll pick up the guitar as soon as I finish the cigarette and try and demonstrate a bit of what I'm talking about, or what I think I'm talking about, and a few other wee things. I'm working on a couple of jazz tunes, in a sentimental mood. I spoke about that before. I've more or less worked out the melody. I have the melody more or less for the A section. The B section I'm fiddling about with, like I'm getting there. There's one or two others I'll be looking at. What have I been looking at? Body and Soul, the Holman, the Hans Moman version, the Coleman Hawkins version, which is sort of like, that was a big deal in its day, wasn't it? It was like, I think what he done on that was supposed to have been like crazy. Moaning, Art Blakey, the Jazz Messengers. I've always been a big fan of that. I haven't been listening to it, but it's something that I was messing around with, and Lee Morgan's trumpet playing on that, his solo on that is amazing. It's really, really cool, some of the stuff that he does, and it's not too far out of reach for, blues players, blues guys verging into swing and jazz, that stuff is attainable for the likes of us. Yeah, Body and Soul, I was working some of that out today, and Moaning. And the next one that I'm going to have a go is It Never Entered My Mind, Miles Davis. I'm not sure if he wrote that one or what the story is, but it's a beautiful ballad, like, so I'm going to try and have a wee go at that at some point. My jazz journey continues. What else have I been looking at? All of Me, I'm going to have a go at that because I'm really quite familiar with that. It's one of the simpler standards, isn't it? And I don't think, with what I've been trying to learn from studying these other harder songs and, transcribing bit by bit and, press and play and press and pause and going, is it that? And hopefully, if my vocabulary has been enhanced at all by any of that if I approach something a little bit simpler, I'll be able to find licks. And again, I've been sticking with this process of mapping, of trying to get the chords and the harmony in my mind, so I sort of know the changes and I know where I am, without really having to look at a chart. Having the melody down and just playing off the melody, adjusting the melody, and then having a few extra moves. Just playing through it slowly in my mind so I can go, okay, well, I've got that little arpeggio there. I know I can go to that. I can do 3 or 4 different things with that. Yeah, but again, I think somebody, compared like playing jazz as opposed to playing like on a straight blues or something. It's all one scale, more or less. You know where you are. You can't really go too far wrong on a blues, and jazz is like downhill slalom skiing or something like that. And it's quite daunting, I think, for guys just getting into jazz. It's like it is a minefield. There's so much going on, and it's hard to figure it out. So yeah, let's. I'm on the middle pickup here, which I've been experimenting with a little bit. That sound, and there's the dryness of that. I don't know if that's reverbs it not. Well, there's it not now. Actually, I've got to give myself one, right? You hardly notice. Oh wait, that's it at 1. That's it at about 5 to 2. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Right. Well, the thing I was doing earlier was playing double stops, right? So what's that? A root and a fifth, a 12th fret. Rather than playing it with one finger, you can't get too much wiggle on it. If you play it, say I'm playing it there with my second and third finger. So I was sort of trying to approximate like a slide move, like. Yeah, something like that. So I suppose on the slide it would be like. Something along the lines of that. I don't play slide that often. I used to be quite good at it back in the days. Where I started with the slide was yeah, it's quite difficult. I mean, I've got 9s. The action's high enough on this, so it's quite good. But you know, do you know that thing? Like you can be practicing and picking things nice and lightly, but when you're right in the heat of battle, it's like You're picking like mad, you know. If the band is pulsing and driving and you come into a solo, you can't really go like. Maybe some people can. Maybe some people can do that. You know, fly up and down and just be light as hell. I find anyway that I like. So the same with the slide. To really get a good vibrato on it, you have to press in a bit. In the key of let me see, what does it go to there? You really got to press into it. I learned from that. I mean, the cool thing that I found about Rory was that he would play. He would play like scale patterns rather than simply going like, you know. He would actually play single note lines and stuff like that. So then I had to figure out, you know, if you're on the slide, you want to put the finger behind it, don't you? Because if you go like this, especially on acoustic, you get that finger behind it to mute it behind for whatever reason that is. And then if you're picking with a pick, suddenly you've got to mute all the other strings with this hand, where possible, you know. Muddy Waters then, like, he would have done something like this at the start of a solo. He would have went, what am I doing? Where would he have started? Oh, up here. He would have started on the high E, right up here, the 12th fret. He would have went. You know, on that bend he would go, you know, that's your 4th up to the 5th. And slide it down like that with a bit of vibrato. That was another one, his trademark moves, Muddy Waters. What was the other one then? Would have been like that. So I mean, Elmore James then, he would have been playing that in an open tuning, so he could just do it all in one fret. Well, obviously we don't have the benefit of that there. I believe there's an album called Blues Power, or it might be on John Mill and the Blues Breakers, but there's an album called Blues Power that Eric Clapton did, and Jimmy Page is on some of it from around that time. There's some instrumentals, and Clapton just plays that like a triad there. It might have that on top. Or he goes like this. You know, so you can fill it in, you can do what you want with it. But in standard tuning, if we want to approximate that lick, well, this is what I come up for, which was something like that. There's that little move there where you slide from the 12th fret down to the 10, so from the root down to the flat 7. And sort of on the back end of it then, you slide up. and the fourth to the fifth on the B string. So, and you work it out with your muting and stuff like that, and you can make it sound. Like I say, these are light strings, so it's quite hard. Just slide in there if you want. This is a hard move because you're sliding there on the 13th, then 14th on the different string. You know, you can sort of, if you can get back down there in time, you can slide in there on the 9th fret where you've got that triad of the E chord. So what's that? 5th root 3rd. So that's 3rd inversion really is what that is. Second inversion is when it starts with the 3rd. So, and first inversion is when it starts with a root. I don't really know if you get like 4th inversion where it starts in the 7th. I don't know if that's really the dumb thing. It would maybe shift it into another tonality or something altogether if you were doing that. You know, it would just be a strange voicing. It would be like, well, let's try and do it. Like, let's just say an A chord. We'll put the G on top. You know, suddenly it becomes a G chord with added such and such. You know, so. So those are the kind of moves that I would play on slide. There's another thing in the Muddy Waters ones which is quite good. Like if you're just playing like a blues and A side, and you come up to the 5 chord, you would go. So what you're doing there is you're sliding up to the root note. And letting go of it and going up to the 5th, and you sort of want to feel the scrape on the strings because there's a whole muscular feel to the way that Muddy played it, you know. It's not so much of a Derek Trucks like nice and clean and sweet and stuff like that. I'm sure he can play it dirty too, but and obviously his playing's amazing, but that was like the old school Muddy, you know. Like that's pretty much all I know about slide. You could do that move as well. I think that's got to be one of the main differences between, you know, playing blues and playing jazz. With blues, you can just thump it. You think of Keith Richards or something, you know. He's hitting open strings and extra things, and he's thumping it all the time. You know, in jazz, it's a bit more. You've got to be more accurate, you know, in what you're doing. Which I like just as much, you know, just for different reasons. I like doing that too. But I think it's something to think about because this works both ways. You know, we have like rock guys and blues guys that we get a little bit older and we start to really dig some of this jazzy stuff. We start learning a few modes, and you know, I was just watching an interview with a couple of Australian dudes, and one of the fellas, his name was Brett Garsed, and this guy's a phenomenal guitar player. You want to see him. He played with John Farnham, you know, another Aussie, like, who had that tune, he had that hit, a lot of hits actually, with a song called The Voice. You're the voice, try and understand it, make a noise and make it real. Apparently this John Farnham was off the hook insane in terms of a singer. Like he would be like singing that pure power, never faked it live, you know, wasn't dipping under melodies and stuff. Apparently he was a phenomenal. Plus he was more of a pop guy, real musician, like, but he was more in the pop format. And we're not talking prissy bubblegum pop, we're talking about a guy that made popular music, you know. It's just what he liked. It was more soul music really, you know, white soul music. But I suppose he wasn't really into the rock and roll lifestyle or the blues lifestyle or even the jazz lifestyle where the drugs are so much a part of it. Um, as far as I know, so he was in good condition and could do these things night after night. Didn't really compromise in those terms, according to this lovely fella, Brett Garsett. So this guy sent off a demo to a magazine, an Australia Guitar Player magazine. It managed to find its way to this guy. They asked him did he want the gig, and he joined up. I think he was only 18 or 19, and he went on tour with John Farnham. And yeah, I mean, he was saying like his sort of like not his dream, but what he would have happily settled for. He was living somewhere in Australia, Perth or something like that. He says he would have happily went and settled in Melbourne, playing in a covers band. That would have been great for him, making a living as a guitar player. He would have been made up with that. But you know, this other thing come along, and he says, you know, in those days his playing was like Mick Ralph's. He says he would have loved to have been like Mick Ralph's from Bad Company, you know, and who was it he played from before? All the young dudes, Matt the Hoople. Or Brian Robertson out of Thin Lizzy. That was the sort of stuff that he was into, you know, that kind of playing. As he said, he still loves that, you know, but when he got a little bit older and stuff and was meeting people within the music industry and stuff as well, he got into Alan Holdsworth, which completely blew his mind, you know, and he got into Eddie Van Halen, and what do you call it, one of those guitar players, that guy that played with Steely Dan, done a lot of solos for Steely Dan. I think he did the solo in Did you feel like Jesus? Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? Yeah, that guy, whoever that guy is, I forgot his name. Larry Carlton. Yeah. So he was getting more into that stuff, and that changed it up. And I thought it was quite interesting too. He put those guys in a category. You know, he said Larry Carlton, Alan Holdsworth, and then he was just like, and motherfucking Eddie Van Halen. He was like, you know what I mean? Let's not forget that guy. So that's when he started to change it up. There was a great clip of him playing, doing all this fucking, these Alan Holdsworth runs and stuff. Coming down the neck, and he's doing all these Eddie Van Halen strange harmonics, and it was great to see, you know, especially a guy like that you don't really know of, you know, a massive name, but you know, just the same as any guitar player that really loves it, you know what I mean, and it's what they love to do, and he's managed to get a job in the industry and stuff like that, and he's talking on about this and that, wee stories, you know. It's good to hear. Actually, it's about 3 hours long, and I'm only about an hour and 10 minutes into it, so once I finish this, I'm going to go back and watch it. I can't wait. So you're playing without any effects, you're playing with that dry sound. Forces you to do it all with your fingers, you know. But there's something pleasing about that sound. There's something nice about it, the purity of it. Yeah, well, do you know what we'll do? I'm going to have a quick go, if you will indulge me, to play through in a sentimental mood, yeah? And I'm probably going to really muck it up here, but I'm going to give it my best. And I need to turn the volume up. I'll play just a minute or two of it. At least I can demonstrate that I've more or less got one of the melodies down. And yeah, I'll take it from there. Oh no, I messed it up. Man. So yeah, like I said, big disclaimer. Yeah, this is actually one of the things that the guy said as well. You know, because they were talking about different guitar players, and of course the guy that was interviewing him, it's called Guitar and Chats or something. Neil Hollis, somebody Hollis. you call the guy, and it was. Oh, they were talking about different guitar players, Steve Vai and Dave Gilmore, and all sorts of guys and different techniques and different stuff that different people do. Well, that was one of the things that the guy said, because he does a bit of teaching online and stuff. You should look that guy up. Yeah, Brett Garcia. I think he's got some videos that go into some of those Alan Holdsworth stuff, which is like 4 notes to a string. You know, so I heard him on the clip and I was like, I gotta learn how to do that. The one thing he said, it's so great, playing guitar and any instrument, whatever it is. But you have to be careful that you don't go, oh well, this is my way of doing it and it's the best way. My way is the best, So I'm glad he said that, it kept me in check. He says once you do that, you're out of the game, like so. Right, let's see now if we can make this sound like something. Probably missed the timing. Messed it up already, man. I fucked it right up. You know what? We're gonna leave that. I'll come back to that another day when I have it all the way down. Like soulful blues groove guitar backing jam in A minor, straight blues in A, or greasy slow blues in B minor. Let's go with a straight blues in A. For a conservative choice. Let's try that again. sucking the big one today. Metaphorically, of course. Ah! A little bit like Billy Gibbons. Just keeping it simple. I done fucked up. Alright. Yes, yes, full fucking 10 minute backing track jam. There is coffee left in the cup. Yes, folks of the world, you know, what are you supposed to do? Like, what else are you supposed to do but keep that guitar in your lap all day long and work at it, enjoy it because it's good work. You know, the benefits are fantastic. And you feel yourself getting a little bit better. You hear yourself playing them licks right in the midst of that meditative practice session. You hear yourself playing above and beyond your previous capabilities, and it is manna from heaven. So we must persevere, we must continue, but try not to do what I did last night, right? Which is, I played guitar all day for days on end, and I was just like, I must get good at jazz. I practiced too much. I practiced too hard. I went to bed with a very sore head. I didn't even know where I was as a person. I played that much guitar. I slipped into a fucking existential funk, and you know what? It's not, nobody wants to be there. Like, that's not a nice feeling. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, just covered in crisps. Yeah, so you gotta go easy too. I think it was Joe Bonamassa said, like, and no better example. It's all right practicing all day and getting your chops up and stuff, but if you want to really have something to say, then you gotta go out and live your life. You gotta have a few adventures. Now, I'm sick at the minute. I don't know if I haven't mentioned that before, but I'm sick at the minute, so uh, I'm playing the guitar flat out, man. And you know what? It brings me right back to when I was a kid, like, and really getting into guitar. I just played it all day. Watching TV, guitar was in my hand. I was in the room, I was learning to sing, I was practicing scales. Even if I was playing a computer game, an RPG computer game, I would make my move, set it to automatic, whatever it was, and then practice a few licks in between time. We all know what that dedication, that obsession is like. And sometimes we can leave it behind. The sort of dedication. I was at my best as a musician and a guitar player in some respects in my early 20s. Because at that time, I knew I had talent, and I knew I had the technique end of it as well. I knew I had musical talent. I knew I could do something. And it was only a matter of time until the world seen, and I became the next Slash or something. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. But maybe for the best, right? This is the reality of our lives as musicians, isn't it? You get to a certain age, and you go, okay, I have come to terms with the fact that rock stardom is not on the cards. Okay, but that's all right. That's okay. I can still play in a band. But at that time, I was listening to the old blues stuff, and I was really absorbing it. Not just by proxy. I had a good feeling for it. Listen, submerged in the music, surrounded with it, you do get a good feeling of how to play it and get that deep bluesy sound. You do get a subconscious thing, but very consciously, I was sitting down, I was listening to the intricacies. I don't know what was wrong with me. If I was just born that way, that I was like a real nerd about music. But I think I maybe realised, I can pick up on these little things and I can bring them in, and that'll give my playing an extra boost. And I used to really do that, like, so much when I was a kid. And this past few days that thank God, my hands have been holding up, and like I say, the lighter strings and stuff too, where I can play guitar for 3 or 4 hours in the day, probably on a whole, and the rest of the time I'm listening to music, or I'm watching boxing, but or doing whatever other wee bits and pieces that I have to do. But that, get yourself back in the mindset of when you were a kid and you had your whole life in front of you, and all of these dreams and a feeling of destiny and where all this was going to take you. You've got the talent, you've got the hunger, it's all there. Even to get a jam with somebody is a buzz, play a gig, fuck hell, no better feeling in the world, beats any drug. And with that buzz, you go and you get in. If you get the stereo on and you start picking this stuff up. That same dedication that you had then. Forget about the disillusionment of growing older and stuff. Yeah, that gives us some perspective. Well, let's use that perspective to shine a light back on what we were before and bring that into our old age. Look, guys, I'm getting awfully philosophical here. You know, I like to think that if I wear this jacket, it lets me get away with trying to come out with what I would hope would be some wise words of advice to who knows who. But you know what it is, dudes? It's all about guitars, isn't it? It's all about blues. Now, sometimes it's about boxing too. So, Belfast Blues and Boxing, you know where to get it. Any time of day, legal.